Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I am Dustin. We are looking at Tesla once again. What an interesting setup we find ourselves in. We can see that over the past day, we are up 1.52%. We're up 6.9% over the past 5 days trailing. I like the way that the setup is here because I see the blue line, which is the price, is actually angling a little bit higher. We're seeing some bullishness in the price action. It does look like the red line, which is the 15-day moving average, is kind of flatlined out. That's not necessarily a good thing. If we look on the side here at this full-on trade range of what we see in Tesla, we can see we've essentially gone nowhere since the beginning of June. We're at around that 250 price, or a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but really going nowhere. What we can see though overall is that we do have a very high correlation to the VIX, and negative correlation that is, and it's actually falling, so it's getting more negative. The problem there is that obviously the VIX has been on a little bit of a tear recently. We were up over 15 today, over 16 today in the VIX. So this definitely sends us a signal that we want to watch Tesla when the market is not as volatile, because it drives essentially a lot of its stock price through the correlation of the VIX, which is not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It is actually generally a thing for most stocks, unless you're inversely correlated. It's like maybe a defensive or something like that. If we look at the dollar correlation, it does have a negative correlation to the dollar as well and is falling. Might want to pay attention. If we look at the raw data though, what we can see essentially is that we've seen a return of a little bit of bullishness here in Tesla. We're back up above 260. 257 is the 23-day moving average. We've got 261, which is the 5-day. We're back up above that as of today. It looks like we have been for quite a little bit here in terms of seeing that price move up. What's nice is that the 5-day moving average stays so quick and so close behind the price that even these impressive moves, where you're coming up to like 246 up to 260 and then kind of hovering here, it won't be long until this is back below. So we want to watch for that signal if anything does change. We can see that the volatility is starting to break out. Volatility has been falling for quite a while here. We've had a correlation of price to rise. That'll probably change as we see the volatility start to break out differently. We can look and see on the signals here. We are go long in the short term, nothing on the intermediate term or longer term. So we want to just be conscious that we may see more long signals. We may see more bullishness, but we are not necessarily convinced that what we have right now is a bullish breakout. The reason why is because if you look here at the trend indicator, we've got two bears on the short term. We've got full on bearishness in the intermediate term and the longer term on the daily. Not something that we expect to see in a bull market, but something that we want to at least be a little bit cautious about, want to pay attention, see where the price is, where the levels, what do we got to do. We are looking at the rolling sentiment though, and we have a falling bear. The interesting part about that is we've gone pretty low and we've continued to actually see a falling bear, even though things are slightly getting better. And what I mean is they're getting less bad than they were before. If you look at this indicator down here, essentially this graph, the green is the bullishness, the red is the bearishness. You would like to see the green above 50%. You'd like to see bullishness above 50%, because that means if it is, then bearishness is losing. Right now, bearishness is very much winning. It looks like we pretty much peaked in bullishness sometime around the 25th of September in Tesla, and nothing has looked good ever since. The 15-day moving average is rolling over, and we're below the 50% line. Not good. If we look at the trading signals, we do see that we've got some sell signals here in the VIX back on at the very end of September. We don't see any real transition into bullishness just yet. We've lost some of those bear key 3. We're down to only 1. We've got 2 on the bullishness. Not quite sure exactly how that's going to play out. Also want to just pay attention. If we look at the charts, what I like to see here is maybe we're seeing some sort of support being held on the price here that we hit on the 18th, I believe, of August. We're seeing some support possibly here on the 27th. It looks like that low at 234. If we hold 234 and continue to move higher, those would be positive, but it does look like we see a lower high before this, a lower low. Now we have a higher low and maybe a lower high. We'll see. We do want to be very conscious that things can change quickly. Tesla's one of those stocks that can carry a lot of momentum for a long period of time. No matter what you think, it can move longer than you would expect, and that's what's kind of nice about it when you catch the move on the right direction. Now, if we look and see, this is the daily bullish sentiment and bearish sentiment. The bullishness is down at 43.9. That's pretty low. I'll be honest. The 15-day moving average is below 50%. It is angling down. The bullishness, even when it had good days, only got to 47%, which is just not enough. We're looking at 49% at 29 on the 29th of September. Also could expect more, and that was kind of the highlight as of recently. So let's look at the volume. The volume is, again, it's interesting because Tesla has such high volume, so it looks like a lot no matter what, because obviously you're over 100 million shares traded, but you're still seeing even the 15-day moving average is kind of slightly angling down and falling. Interesting setup. We could definitely be setting up for a big dump of volume at some point soon. We see at the daily volatility, again, we called this out earlier, it is breaking out again. The correlation is currently still negative. We'd like to see the correlation start to go positive. If the price volatility correlation goes positive, that would actually give us a very good move as the volatility starts to break out. But if it stays negative, I would look out below. We'd really want to be conscious about whatever these levels are. It looks like the trade range here, 230 is the level on Tesla that we want to pay attention on the daily, 285 at the top. We haven't hit the top of the range since the middle of September, and we hit it. That's actually very impressive. We haven't really hit it since June. We kind of like grazed by it in July. We hit it for sure on 9/11. Never forget. And when we look here at where the price is now, it's really in the middle of the range. This is really anyone's ballgame. We can see bullishness win. We can see bearishness win. I'd really watch and see what Elon is doing on Twitter or on X, excuse me. I think it's probably the safest bet because he's going to want to influence it. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long? Are you short? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is this even a good review? And before you go, subscribe to the New High newsletter. We give you 25 stocks to your inbox every single Sunday. Stocks between $5 and $10 that are breaking out. Stocks breaking out to 1-year highs. Stocks breaking out to all-time highs. It's a great list to get your week started and start getting your mindset in the right frame of mind for your trading week. Talk to you soon.